Looking at our Kaspa chart, notice the yellow X marks the spot. Big deal, you say. That X has been uploaded on the internet, marked on this chart for over 45 days, predicting exactly where the candle was headed. We use this precise method to give the November 3rd 10X Kaspa long call out 48 hours before the God candle even appeared. Doing a flashback to 3 weeks ago, there were so many people on social media claiming Bitcoin's about to crash. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. Kaspa's headed to 5 cents. And they've got all their shapes on their chart, talking all their statistics, and it gives real technical analysis a bad name. The method that we're using is known as origin trend lines. Different from the stock market, because of halvings and emission cycles, cryptocurrencies will have repeating trend lines over and over again. You can often space these out with Fibonacci pitches. Once you have insight into this, adding a few twists on top of it, the predictions that you can make become Nostradamus level, as you can clearly see from just the past 60 days alone on this channel. We've turned $12,500 into what was valued at just under $250,000 when Kaspa was at 15 cents. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, we recently pointed out this ascending triangle, which is appearing to have finally started breaking to the upside, which was also on top of a flagpole. The ascending triangle, out of the 3 different triangle shapes, you've got your symmetrical triangle, your descending triangle. Both of those are typically more bearish, if not like a 50-50 flip, slightly bearish. But the ascending triangle is, out of all these triangles, the only one that is bullish. Now, make sure that you don't mistake your triangles for your wedges. A wedge is a triangle shape that can be pointed up or down. Looking at this purple trend line here, let's rewind all the way back down to January, when the fake narrative known as the bank run on Bitcoin was happening. Remember, these banks were going out of business. Channels like DataDash, they were actually able to prove that the banks weren't running into Bitcoin. What DataDash missed, and a lot of these other channels that are still leaning bearish, is what we found on this channel was the Nord Stream 2 thing. The Russians got their pipeline exploded. They took all that gas. They started mining Bitcoin with that power. Now Russia's the number 2 biggest Bitcoin miner in the world. Guess what? The Russians hodl. So an increase in hash, plus these guys are just straight hodling, gets pretty bullish for Bitcoin. And so on the BlackRock ETF on page 83 of the final draft, you can see that they have the availability to fork Bitcoin, thus decoupling people who aren't sanctioned with the United Nations possibly from owning their Bitcoin. Digressing back to the chart, this purple trend line is so important. We can see an exact clone of it all the way back to April 19th. And it appears after the lockdowns and everything like that, which may very well be why the candle was under this trend line, not on top of it, and what might be different and extremely more bullish about this particular cycle. Notice how we went all the way up and just almost touched this trend line on the peak of the April spike. Now, cloning that trend line and moving it into where we are now, we're about to touch it again. And just recently, we've been on top of it in this scenario where you can get to the top side of this trend line, extremely bullish. Fast forwarding into 2025, in the fall, this trend line will be right around $120,000. Remember, for Bitcoin to go, it's got to get trillions of dollars into it. Now, there's a lot of channels who are doing specific studies right now on these stock market guys who just have money behind waiting to put it into the Bitcoin ETF. Now, there's massive advantages for people with significant wealth in buying the Bitcoin ETF versus buying cold storage. And the number one point is self-custody. How would you like to have like $10 million written down in like a crossword puzzle seed phrase? Kind of might make it hard to sleep at night. Once JP Morgan has custody of the Bitcoin, the amount of wealth that can start to pump into it could increase significantly. Michael Saylor pointed out in a recent interview how many people are willing to stick hundreds of millions of dollars into a proof of stake cryptocurrency versus how many people are willing to stick billions into a proof of work like Bitcoin. And he goes on to elaborate that the fact proof of stake was only invented to pick up for the unscalability and the slow transaction speed that proof of work had in the time. When you take a deeper look into Kaspa, and I'm talking about some really high level nerd stuff that we're going to have to do an entire separate video for. We've already covered the block speed. But once you get the speed down, now you've also got to talk about the size of the block. Block for Bitcoin is 1 megabyte. Kaspa has absolutely no size limits on its block. Ethereum is one of the only other cryptocurrencies that has no size regulations on its block. But the catch with Ethereum's block size is the gas fees can get too high. We can grasp this even as laymen's. We'll see that Kaspa very well may be the proof of stake killer. It's that powerful of a crypto. Remember, we're only at 1 block per second right now, which is technically speaking the pre-alpha testnet. 10 BPS, which they're running the testnet 11.4 right now, is like your regular speed Kaspa, and they are indefinitely looking at bumping it up to at least 32 BPS, if not 100. Looking at the chart, some key trend lines to keep in mind. Now, we're going to do a video within the next 48 hours, completely all TA, setting up the origin trend lines just on Kaspa, the whole nine, how all these different Fibonacci pitch got up here. That's going to be great. Make sure you subscribe to catch that one. But in the meantime, we want to take a look at this flag pattern right here. This is clearly a bull flag. How can we get confirmation that the Kaspa breakout has started? In tomorrow morning's upload, we're going to explain every single trend line, every single Fibonacci pitch, every single pattern formation on the Kaspa chart. For the abridged version, we're really looking for the cross into both the red zone, outside of the gravitational field of this flagpole right here by the white dotted line, and then of course finally the final x-axis Fibonacci pitch level in black here. Now it's my opinion that we may in fact have a few weeks of more lateral movement, slightly upward, until the breakout on Kaspa actually begins. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. We were talking a lot about crypto custody. The Tangem wallet is the best way to take custody of your crypto. It's super safe. You don't need to be tech savvy to use it, so you can become an affiliate marketer. Once you use the discount code JesseAI, you get the discount. You're automatically registered as an affiliate marketer when you use any discount code, and then you can hook your friends and family up with a cold storage wallet where they can put their Plays app, their Myriad games, their Bitcoin, and of course, their Kaspa. We'll catch you on the next one.